Oh, I'm already there, Creighton, because in the bottom left-hand corner, playing for Cascade Gaming, he is the red Protoss player. From Russia, it's SKillous.
And his opponent on the other side of the map in the blue, representing the Ukraine and Clash Gaming, it is Hellraiser.
What a name, Hellraiser. So,
I was just about to talk about these players' nicknames and how some players, you give them an extra nickname. Like Haas is the Grand Warlock of Protoss, or I'm trying to get Clem's nickname to stick, but Hellraiser is one of those players who doesn't need a nickname because his in-game name is so badass already.
Yeah, completely, and he's also like amazing because it doesn't fit his personality at all.
Oh no!
If you've ever met Hellraiser, he's really quiet, he's really polite. Sometimes he'll talk a little bit of crap in Discord, but he's like, if you were to go, who is the Hellraiser of StarCraft? I'd be like, Stefano.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But I never would have said, never would have said Bogdan here. Now, we do have SKillous making sure there are no proxies as the game starts off. SKillous, the nickname fits. He's skilled. He's us.
And he likes to kill his opponents. Is that all coming together? I'm really not sure. Anyway, a little bit of a proxy pylon out for SKillous as he looks to block off that 30, but no expansions yet. Just dual gateways into cybercores. Everything standard here from both these players. Grant, do you expect either of these guys to try anything too crazy here in game number 1?
Yeah, I think SKillous is definitely proxying a robo here. It's just a gate. Okay, so SKillous going for something a little bit cheeky. This is interesting. The third gateway going down in the proxy location. He will probably go for a pylon, maybe slightly closer. It isn't actually that far when you take into consideration like the terrain in the map. He's not even that much further away from like a third base. At home, it seems that Hellraiser's playing pretty normal and was probably going to be looking for an expansion build with that pylon going on the low ground.
Yeah, a really interesting gateway placement from SKillous, and it looks like with the pylon on the low ground, Hellraiser may be going for an expansion as well. We see him saving up a lot of minerals here. He's passing the 300 mark, and that's usually a pretty good indicator. Oh, never mind. I was going to say pretty good indicator that he's going to go for an expansion, but 2 Stalkers popping out instead. And, I mean, is it possible Hellraiser stays on 1 base play against this 3-gate play from SKillous?
Now, Hellraiser did go in and see that there was no second pylon at the correct time. There is, of course, one down now, but he saw that something was a little bit up. And that means he is probably going to play defensive. I wouldn't even be surprised to see a battery on the low ground in the not-too-distant future. For now, he's guarding against any adepts coming in. You can see he is scouting everywhere for a proxy. SKillous is producing a good amount of units, actually. Stalker count is rocking up there. Soon we're going to be seeing 7 against the 4 of Hellraiser. SKillous also has that sentry of his own to possibly force field the ramp, force field his opponent, separate the army. But things starting off pretty good here for SKillous, I would say. He's been scouted so late.
Very, very late there. Hellraiser is, of course, getting his natural down, and as you said, it looks like going to be a bit more defensive play out of him this game. He does have the Stalkers out, going for the Robo behind this, and actually, I like the position of Hellraiser as well here. I think either player is still at the spot where they could win this game. If Hellraiser can get an Immortal out before this attack from SKillous hits, he'd be in good shape, but it doesn't look like he's going to have time to crank anything out of that Robo.
Take a look at the units tab right now, Creighton Olsen. There are 10 Stalkers to 4 and 1 Sentry apiece. And I don't know if you're any good at math, Creighton, but as far as I know from my second grade education, 10 is more than 4. And now we can see the attack coming in.
I had my elementary education in America. Of course it's not a good education. You're absolutely right here. Even with a force field on the ramp, actually that force field a bit misplaced. I'm not sure if the Stalkers can sneak up or not. No, I think they're just zoned out. Yeah. But that is going to force a cancel on the low ground. Going to pick up that pylon, and now it's just a matter of time before SKillous continues to march these units across the map. We see Hellraiser trying to add on a forge, maybe for that last second placement of a photon cannon. But I think it might be too little too late here. Even with amazing force fields, it's going to be very difficult for Hellraiser to hold here.
And the final sentry of the force field actually just got sniped while it still had energy. Probes getting pulled off the line. There's too many Stalkers here. SKillous' build was scouted too late. It was too strong. He made a whole heck ton of Stalkers. And GG, SKillous takes game 1 of the series.
Absolutely. If this game was a book, the subtitle would definitely be Hellraiser versus SKillous way too many stalkers, just unable to cope with all that early game aggression. So a bit of a late scout for Hellraiser and a bit of a bad follow-up from Hellraiser as well, trying to get into the robo, trying to tech up a little bit, not realizing that he was under so much pressure. Grant, do you know about when Hellraiser scouted that third proxy gateway from SKillous?
Never. I genuinely am not sure he ever saw it. I'm just reopening my StarCraft.
Yeah, that's no problem. Yeah, I don't think he ever saw it there. And that, of course, was his downfall. He was trying to scout, bless his heart. He was all over the map. But as he said, I don't think he scouted it ever and just had no idea what he was up against. So we're getting into game number 2 here. Is going to be Eternal Empire LE. Grant, besides scouting, what does Hellraiser need to do to make this second game a little bit more competitive?
If SKillous comes onto this, and this is a mindset that SKillous has, that he's going to throw out these proxies, maybe these slightly unusual proxies, it can be very, very difficult to beat. We saw SKillous start this tournament going 0-2 in series, and I believe 0-4 in maps, and then he managed to bring it back a little bit, and now we're seeing SKillous play like SKillous, like I really expected him to. And it's been a very, very good start here for him. I think Hellraiser has to be better with his scouting. SKillous on that map just found a spot that I've never seen anyone proxy in. It was very surprising to see. I think Hellraiser just has to scout a little bit better.
Yeah, that'll definitely be a good start. The scouting will definitely help him out. We haven't, Grant, talked, as we're waiting for SKillous to join our game here, we haven't really talked, we didn't have much time to talk about Group A. Usually you and I like to get on a little bit early, banter about the groups and what we expect to see today. But of course, these players ready to go very early, so we were forced right into game very quickly. Let's take a minute and talk about what's been going on in Group A, and specifically where Hellraiser and SKillous are.
Yeah, let's definitely do that. So, this is Group A, as we have said. Actually, right now, if you were to take things into account, both players very much need this win. Like, it is massive. They are both 1 and 2, 1 series win, 2 series losses. SKillous had the slightly better record of 2 and 4. I'm not sure if this is up to date by the minute.
Yes, it is.
It is. Fantastic. So, they went into this completely equal.
Hang on, Grant. Okay, you're good. Sorry, go on.
So they went into the series completely even on map score, on series score. And right now, Hellraiser has to make something happen.
No question. I believe we'll be getting into game now on Eternal Empire LE. Excellent stuff. But yeah, as you said, they're both 1 and 2. They both desperately need to win here. Going down 1 and 3 is not a death sentence. It's still technically possible to leave the group. Almost impossible.
Yeah, I mean, have either of these players played Serral? I'm pretty sure Hellraiser has, but I don't think SKillous has. So yeah, SKillous still has to play Serral. So right now, SKillous really needs this win, because I never like to make assumptions, especially with SKillous starting to pick it up again. But you have to think they all go in unfavoured against Serral. For now, a quick introduction of our players. Playing for Cascade Gaming, in the bottom left-hand side here of Eternal Empire, he is the Russian Protoss player. It's SKillous.
And on the top right-hand side, his Ukrainian opponent, representing Clash Gaming and the blue, it is Hellraiser. Nice camera work there, Grant. That's real slick.
Yeah, it was a bit off-center, but we'll take it. We'll take it.
You're looking good. Looks like standard openings here again for both players. Which standard play from both players, which gives us some time again to talk a little more about Group A. As you said, both players 1 and 2. Stefano still looming in the horizon for SKillous. Group A is in a really interesting position right now because, of course, Serral, unsurprisingly, match score 4-0, map score 8-0, hasn't dropped a map yet in the tournament. No one else, though, is at a 3-1 score right now.
Yeah, the group is still wide open, and that anyone, if they can just get on a roll of 2 or 3 match wins, could take it. And this is very likely also to end up coming down to map score and then even head-to-head. So every map is so vital right now. We do see SKillous. I think he's looking to be cheeky once again, and he's found a slightly unusual spot where he should throw down a pylon, and this, if it does go down here, will definitely be for a Stargate crater.
You know, I've seen Dark Shrine down here sometimes, but I think it, and with the probe leaving, that's also a possibility.
Ooh.
But, you know, it's really hard to tell what they're going to do, but that is a really cheeky pylon location, and I really do like it. As the probe leaves, yeah, my guess is maybe Dark Shrine, Stargate still a possibility. We do see Stargate on the other side, though, for Hellraiser.
Yeah, and actually, I'm now starting to believe that this is not going to be anything at all except a fake and maybe used for some warp-ins later. We see double adepts right now coming out here of Hellraiser. He's going to start moving across the map. Hellraiser starting to favour information more and more. It was double stalker here, of course, for SKillous, so he will be able to clean this up and take down this pylon. But he's blocked in his main for now, and that is going to be quite nice. We see the probe here of SKillous. Big, brave probe trying to take down the Nexus. Isn't going to do too much, unfortunately.
Hey, man, it's a brood war probe. He's got all sorts of combat experience that these other probes just don't have. All these younglings in the main base don't know what it's like to be a brood war probe. All spiky and whatnot. They're so good looking. I love them. Robo down for SKillous on the other side of the map. That probe finally will get started. Poor guy. But SKillous will make up for it by dropping that Robo on the other side of the map as Warpgate research finishes up for both players.
Yeah, and as we can see here, was it Stargate scouted? Yeah, of course. The Stargate was scouted here by SKillous. He's going to be able to push back these adepts as well. May even get the kill onto one of them. Will pick up that frag. And there we go. One adept shading away. But this is okay. This is a good start here once again from SKillous. You can see working count does favour Hellraiser. But SKillous is actually producing a couple of batteries and getting a prism. It looks like he's going to try and go aggressive here. He's made a lot of units.
This is really cute. It looks like SKillous is going to skip that natural altogether, hoping to catch Hellraiser on the backside of an expansion, maybe. Catch him off his footing a bit when he's not expecting. And I think Hellraiser knows to expect aggression. Look what's coming out of his Stargate next, Grant. As the Oracle makes its way across the map, he's making a Void Ray back home.
Yeah, and this Oracle may go in, try and pick up a frag here. It's not going to be able to get it just yet. Why am I saying frag today? 3 probes do get caught out there by the stasis trap, but SKillous is now moving across the map. Army supply does favour Hellraiser, but a lot of it in production right now. It's 8 Stalkers to 2!
Yet again, we see SKillous with a dangerous number of early game Stalkers and Hellraiser unprepared for this aggression. Still no natural, and SKillous is Hellraiser's going to see there's no natural with that Oracle now, and I think now he's going to realize there's no way I can expand. I got to crank out more Stalkers. Lickety split. His Warpgate research not finished yet. It's only halfway done. He delayed it so long trying to get the Stargate out first, and that's going to come back to bite him in the butt here as SKillous is really unloading an awful lot of units here.
Yeah, force field may come down to trap that Stalker. No, he just doesn't micro it at all. Wait, is this a full? Yes, it is. He couldn't escape. We do see the batteries doing a great job, but the prism means these Stalkers have blink without having blink. And as soon as those batteries run out of juice, then this attack could become very, very scary right now. SKillous is currently at 31 to 21 armor supply. Second Void Ray on the way. There's only 2 batteries. I think we need to see a third.
Definitely. Only 2 batteries does. It seems like a lot of batteries if you're playing against a Protoss player. But if you are a Protoss player, it never seems like quite enough, especially as you mentioned, with that Warp Prism in a position for SKillous, and it's just out of range of these Stalkers. The Void Ray is going to get topped up here, but the shield battery is already very low. One almost out of energy, the other about halfway done, and I'm very worried for Hellraiser right now as the army supply for SKillous continues to increase. The second gateway is going to go down here. How many gateways are left for Hellraiser there, Grant? Check that production tab for us.
I'm seeing 1 currently built and 2 more trying to be built here. SKillous is up in army supply still, 35 to 23. He's producing nothing but units. Of course, he's not expanding behind. This Oracle has done nothing, though. Maybe a couple of stasis wards and things like that. It finally picks up its first kill, but we do have the attack now coming in. Super battery coming in. There's too much DPS there.
It is. The number of Stalkers here just able to pick off these units single-handedly, so there's not enough time really for the shield battery overcharge to function. Some nice surrounds, I will say, from SKillous here, but Hellraiser's Warp Prism is still there, and unfortunately, since he has more gateways back home, the Warp Prism's still in position so he can reinforce in the front lines. It's looking like Hellraiser is going to get wiped off the map in a very quick 2-0, Grant.
Yeah, we have a bit of a cleanup coming here, even the recall coming. It looks like maybe, and this is a maybe, we're going to see this be cleaned up, but it was... actually, Hellraiser didn't lose workers.
He didn't. His infrastructure is way behind SKillous, though. I think even though SKillous was pushed away, he's going to keep this aggression going on. The Warp Prism's still alive. Stalker's going to try and pick down the Oracle if they can, and I think Hellraiser's overexpanding here. Nice snipe on the Warp Prism there, and that will force SKillous back home. Wow, can Hellraiser turn this around?
Yeah, in terms of reinforcements at home, it shouldn't be too bad. We have another Prism coming. I maybe would have liked to have seen an Immortal. There were always 2 Stalkers left at home anyway to deal with this Oracle. So that means damage-wise, there shouldn't be too much coming in here for our Russian Protoss player. He's going to survive. Hellraiser gets the expansion first. And we're going into what is almost an okay semi-standard mid-game now.
This is amazing. I think you and I both probably thought that Hellraiser was just straight up dead there, but that overcharge, that shield battery overcharge, helping to keep him alive for just a little bit longer than he probably should have. And it was just enough time to kick SKillous back out of the main. Of course, SKillous has that Immortal, should have that Immortal coming out very soon, I hope, from the robot. I'm not sure why he's not prioritizing production of the Immortal. Immortal and More Prism together is a dead foe. Instead, just moving into the natural with what looked to be 2 Adepts shading into the natural now, but they shouldn't get too much done.
Yeah, I'm not expecting too much to be done as long as Hellraiser is on his game here. These Adepts should not be finding damage. We can see the expansion is going down for Hellraiser. SKillous has not taken an expansion. He is continuing to move out aggressively. He is trying to find some more damage and end the game, because right now making an expansion would be very, very, very late. We can see in terms of the unit production, 8 Stalkers to 5, 3 Adepts. I really don't know. I think SKillous needed to cut his losses here and go for an expansion. He's not going to be doing it. He's sending 2 Adepts into the main. If he can find economic damage, that would be a different matter. But he's not going to do... Wait. Hello?
Man, this is so straight. The Adept barely making it out alive. Hellraiser currently slightly ahead on army supply, and of course, with that shield battery down at the natural, shield battery overcharge is ready again. I think he should be able to defend this fairly easily, and with the Immortal out, SKillous is not going to have too much of a chance to get in here. I mean, it would be surprising if SKillous could cause real damage.
There's no blink, there's no upgrades, there's no nothing really here for SKillous. The only hope he had was getting a couple of Adepts into the mineral line and trying to do some economic damage and then playing this out, because he can't kill him. You can see he's producing nothing but Adepts, but he doesn't have an answer right now for the Immortal. I wouldn't be surprised to see Hellraiser even feel comfortable enough to begin probing, and that's exactly what he's doing. The Void Ray is never going to die with that super battery coming in. A Sentry will get picked off, Stalkers will go down, the Immortal is going to be targeted, but there's not enough here, and unfortunately, right now for SKillous, GG will have to be called, and Hellraiser, with great defense, evens up the game.
Great defense is absolutely the correct word for it, Grant. Very interesting choices there from Hellraiser. From SKillous. Not just for that initial attack, which I think was well advised. I would probably have done that initial attack as well, where he ended up losing too many of these units. But that second attack into the natural, I guess he just read that he was too far behind, didn't want to expand behind that, and just tried to keep the pressure on. But a really strange choice not to sit back and maybe try and catch up in a macro way, and instead taking that, I don't know, 10%, 20% chance of winning on that fight. Seems like a very, very low chance for SKillous to pull that out. But that does mean we're going to see a game 3, which is a caster I always love. Yeah,
definitely. You can never argue with a game 3 here. Now, we will be getting into it very shortly on Death Aura. Everyone loves this map. It's got those acceleration zone generators. Can lead to a lot of great aggression and things. Guys, thank you so much for joining us this evening. There's already a couple of hundred of you here, which is great. Thank you. It's really nice to see all of you. It's been a tough old week, a tough old day for myself, so I really appreciate you all being here.
Grant, you had the biggest week I could possibly imagine for a StarCraft caster. It's only Tuesday, and you've just had so much going on. We are so fortunate that you are a trooper and sticking with us and doing all the amazing work that you continue to do in StarCraft, and including this fantastic casting. I couldn't have asked for a better casting partner here for the B stream all week on the EU DreamHack qualifiers. But let's get in now, Grant, to our third game of this series. Both these players looking for their second match win in Group A.
And starting off, he won map 1, lost map 2. Can he take this best of 3 series and put himself up to 2-2 in score? He is the Russian Protoss player playing for Cascade Gaming, SKillous.
And his opponent in the top left-hand side in the red, changing colors on us here in game number 3. It is our Ukrainian Protoss player from Clash Gaming. It is Hellraiser.
Silly players, silly traders, not making them.
Man, I yelled at the Hellraiser last game. I was like, please switch to blue so I'm not confused about who you are in this mirror matchup. And in game 3, my mind was on other things, and I forgot to tell him. So anyway, it should be fine. No problems. I'm sure we're the only people who will notice Grant. Everyone else is no problem with it at all. Game 1 and game 2, pretty standard so far. No real surprises. I mean, the biggest surprise maybe was SKillous proxying his gateway in game number 1. Aside from that, fairly standard openings from both these players. Game 3 never seems like the time to do something unorthodox or something way out of line of normal. But maybe you disagree with me, Grant. Do you think game 3 is the time for these players to try something a little wild?
Yeah, I would say SKillous. Definitely. He has been the aggressor, and when you've set that tone, sometimes it's good to keep that tone. It's very hard to predict what these guys are going to do, and I think we'd just be flipping a coin right now if we were to say so. Hellraiser's played very standard and put his second pylon at home every game. Second pylon for SKillous also at home, so we're not seeing any very, very fast proxies. None of the fastest possible Stargates, anything like that just yet. Across the map, we are seeing Stalker Sentry from both. Yeah, okay, both players are actually playing very, very standard right now. And Creighton, you get the right prediction there.
Yeah, I think so. Even that Warp Gate research coming down very early. Of course, last game we saw Hellraiser slowing down his Warp Gate production just to make sure he can get some of those extra units out very quickly. And the Stargate, I think, as well. But interesting stuff here from both players. So far, playing very super standard. Pro will get in from SKillous to see what Hellraiser's up to. But man, Grant, it's one of those tough PvPs as a caster where until that proxy goes down, until that pylon goes down, until something crazy goes down, there's not too much to talk about.
No, this game is certainly going to be going into a more standard early mid game with both players taking Nexuses, Nexi. I'd expect to see Robos and Twilight Councils go down pretty soon. You don't usually see Stargate off the back of this. Because if you go Stargate, you generally want to get in early before there are Stalkers, before there are batteries and things like that. Both players will be scouting pretty soon. There we go. As we see Hellraiser beginning his, we should see that at the opposite side as well. Boom. And everything is just looking like they're going to be very careful here.
You know, we need a better name, Grant, for mirror matchups where players are doing the exact same builds for most of the game.
Yeah.
I always call them like true mirror matchups. I feel like there needs to be some extra name for builds or for games in which both players are playing the same race and doing almost the same builds. But thank goodness for us, Grant. Not the case this game. We finally see our first minor variation. I'm going to guess it's not going to be a huge difference, as we should see a Robo down and a Twilight Council down on both sides eventually. But we are going to see SKillous starting out with that Twilight Council and Hellraiser going for Robo Forge.
Yeah, so we are seeing the variation that you mentioned here is SKillous is going to be going for a Blink opening or Blink. Standard Blink mid game. He's going to have more map maneuverability here, but he has to be careful against, of course, Prisms. And also, taking an outright fight can be a little bit difficult here. We are going to see the Stalker chase down a couple of his adepts. A little bit of bad pathing there. He actually, he never would have got the kill, but he could have got a bit more damage. We do see Hallucinated Phoenixes, Phoeni, that's not right, continue into...
Phoenicians.
I think it's just Phoenix. The plural of Phoenix is Phoenix, right?
It is just Phoenix, yeah. Phoenician is the correct word for someone who lives in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, there we go. That'll do.
But yeah, I think you're right. One Phoenix. Or multiple hallucinated Phoenix.
But again, these players are playing now very, very slow and steady. We'd expect to see third bases coming out for both within the next couple of minutes if they choose to go for that. We've not seen that gateway explosion just yet.
I like that both players are grabbing their forges down. I think that's a really understated sort of move. Very often you'll see these PvPs, and we'll get to, I mean, think about yesterday. We had M. Canning versus, who was it? I was casting an M. Canning game yesterday versus Chance, I think. And they were both at the 25-minute mark of their crazy long game. But Chance had completely forgotten about his upgrades. Just nothing. And M. Canning was like at +3, +2. And Chance was like +2, nothing. And it made such a big difference, such an impact at the end of the game, and it's so disappointing as a viewer and a caster when you see a game where a player is floating 1,000 minerals and 1,000 gas, and they just forget about upgrades because it's not a satisfying conclusion to the game. You know the players didn't play there to the best of their ability because they just made such a classic blunder. So it's nice to see both players keeping up their 1-1s, getting Blink out. We see the Robo Bay the Robo going down on both sides now. So Hellraiser already has his out with the Warp Prism on the way, and SKillous adding his on. As you said earlier, third base is going down. A little bit of a difference in the third base position, though, Grant. Do you like where Hellraiser's put his third base, or would you prefer him taking a safer one at the 12 o'clock?
I think I probably prefer Hellraiser's position. Now, I'm no expert here, and there generally will be method behind the madness. But I always do feel very, very susceptible to Zealot run-bys and things in the mid and late game from this southwest position or this very top position. And if you can keep your army between all three bases, which is exactly what Hellraiser's doing with his current position, I find it slightly easier to move between them and defend. Meanwhile, if you're getting dropped in the main and run by in the third, it's a lot bigger distance to cover, and it can be a little bit harder here for Hellraiser to defend, for SKillous even to defend. Are you feeling this lag?
A little bit, yeah. It's a bit jumpy. I'm not sure if that's between our server and the client. Hopefully the players aren't seeing it.
I think it's
the
me.
stream is The stream is slowing down a little bit as well. I'm getting a bit of loading, but that might be on my side.
No, I think
let me just make sure that let me just make sure everything's fine. I think it's okay, though. Anyway, we did see a little poke at the third base there from SKillous, but Hellraiser able to drive that away, of course, with the Immortal already out. He's able to do a bit more defense. He's able to produce offensively, but Robo down now for both sides, and we see a big gateway explosion coming out from Hellraiser.
Yeah, both players trying to be aggressive now. Guys, I am suddenly dropping frames. I'm not really sure what's going on. I do apologize. Today has just been awful.
It's been a big day for you, Grant. That's okay, man. We're here to support you, and these games are certainly amazing, even if a frame or two are lost. Look at this. DT's into the main. Does SKillous have anything? Oh my god, there's no observer. There's no photon cannon. There's not nothing. Oh, there's a forge. But there's the observer coming down to the natural now, but the main base already eviscerated. 5, 6, he's gonna get 7, 8 probes maybe. He's gonna stop at 6 and get out of there. But well done there, that DT drop from Hellraiser, really helping him pull him into the lead. Hellraiser now at 63 workers to 55. Hello, fella. What are you doing down there?
Just enjoying the scenery, having a nice time. We do have SKillous now pushing out, guys. I am trying to fix these frame issues because I'm feeling it too, which is very unusual for me. Usually if I drop frames, I don't feel it at all in game. We have a lot of Archons being morphed in here from SKillous. He's going to be looking to get very, very aggressive right now. Army supply is ahead by 19, and it looks like he's going to try and find some damage. Are there batteries here? Okay, there is one with a second on the way.
A little bit worried that a couple batteries are too far forward here. The shield battery might be picked off fairly easily. There's so much DPS right now in the army of SKillous. He's going to be able to get on top of some of these batteries, and if overcharge does go down prematurely, he might even be able to snipe the overcharged battery. But both players setting up for a big attack here. SKillous with a huge army supply lead, though.
Yeah, SKillous' army is very, very large here. You can see his zealot count is through the roof. As the zealots now do rush in, we're seeing, actually units falling down very, very quickly here. The super battery's out of range of anything on the north side. SKillous, mate, what are you backing off?
That was a great engagement from SKillous. He's going to back up, wait for some more zealots because he needs to give himself some space in between his zealots and his stalkers. Of course, that was a beautiful engagement from SKillous, putting those zealots up front, making sure that they provided some cover for the stalkers. Oh, picks off the war prison.
Oh, the observer went down.
For Hellraiser as well. The observer went down, though, and that's huge. The DTs will be able to pick off everything they can now for Hellraiser.
Yeah, now SKillous is going to have to run the whole way. The Immortal from earlier, unfortunately, found himself a little bit far. But yeah, as we said, that Observer was picked off. We saw that blink forward from Hellraiser in order to kill SKillous' Observer. It's only now making its way back across the map, but this is very, very frustrating for SKillous because he is ahead. He'd be looking, if there was an Observer here right now, he could close this game out. You can see the army supply is massive. He's actually going to take the fight despite there being DTs. With SKillous' Observer now showing up to the party. Super Battery is back up though, and that's going to make this attack a little bit difficult.
It's just going to cause SKillous to back off for just a little bit, but yeah, with the second Observer on the map, the third Observer now on the way, you can see how angry SKillous was about that little mistake, but it's not going to be enough to